Thing we know about addiction, or doctors, anyone thinks they know or tell you that I've heard is wrong. Okay. Basically, addiction comes from one place and one place only, or 99% of addictions do. Granted, some people can become addicted just physically, but I'm talking about a real mental addiction. It comes from trauma, and most of the trauma comes from childhood trauma. If somebody suffers from childhood trauma, they do damage to their limbic system. And when their limbic system is damaged, it doesn't develop correctly. What your limbic system does is it produces things like endorphins. Endorphins are feel-good chemicals that give you motivation in life. So if you have a good limbic system, you're getting the right amount of endorphins. You wake up, you want to go to school, you want to play sports, you have energy, you're enthusiastic, you don't like risky behaviors, you're not going to go towards them. You have high levels of serotonin, everything's great. Life is pretty easy. But on the other hand, if you don't, just waking up is like 10 times harder. Getting motivated in the morning. I mean, people diagnose things as ADD, laziness, or bad kids. I guarantee you, if you look in the background, most of these kids were abused kids or have messed up parents that abuse them in some way. Whether it's emotional, sexual, physical, they're being abused, and that's when that causes damage to their limbic system and puts these kids prone for addiction. They're not looking to escape. I mean, they are looking to escape in a way, but they're looking for relief, okay? They're not the most, granted, some people try drugs to see their feelings, but people that become hardcore drug addicts that, use needles and stuff like that, I have friends that are suffering from addiction now, and the one thing in common I've found is everyone has suffered, has dealt with some horrible abuse. So doctors are under this thing that abuse comes from this, and it's genes and all that. That is crap. That's completely untrue. If you take two kids raised from the same parents, one's raised in a loving family and the other one's an abusive family, the loving child will not become a drug addict and the abusive child will. It has nothing to do with their genes. Okay? And so, yes, well, basically, what this does is it lets you realize that if you have had a damaged limbic system, what I'm trying to get is there are ways you can get around it. There are things you can do. Like a lot of people ask, well, what do I do to my kid? And how do I keep him from using drugs? My answer to that is love your kid. Love the kid the best you can. This just say no crap and the idea that, you're going to raise this perfect kid, you're going to be a loving parent, and they're going to find a drug dealer on a train is going to offer them a free drug. First of all, it doesn't happen. But the reason, if you love your kid, they're not going to want to take that drug, okay? And if they try a drug, it's not going to lead them to addiction. So if you want to prevent your children from becoming drug addicts, okay, love your children. And in this video, I'm explaining why. And if people can understand the reason they use drugs, we may be able to develop a cure and help people out. So I hope this helps people. I'm going to make more videos and get more in detail of things. A lot of people find help in support groups, get clean and get into support groups. But a lot of people relapse, and there's like a 3% success rate out of rehabs, and I think that is something that as a society, it's such a huge problem. So many people are dying. We really need to look at. So I hope this helps some people out. If you have questions below, put them in the comments. Please subscribe to my channel, and thank you guys.